Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I'm doing homework on prospects in the draft since we now know what the lottery results have been. And with the Orlando Magic having the 6th and 11th pick, it's not that I know that I've assessed very much of what they should do with their roster. I just see two players that I would love to put on the same team that they could draft together if they want to. Now, I haven't done homework on everybody else, so there may be yet another couple of players that I would love to pair together too as I continue to do homework. I'm just starting this process. Yeah, if I could put Cason Wallace and Jarace Walker together, I think my defense would be ridiculous. That's what I will say. After doing homework on those two prospects back to back, those are going to be two ferocious, game-changing defenders, both of them. And they're not the only ones, too. This is a draft with a lot of good defenders down there, man. Weak side, shot blocking guys, all kinds of wings and stuff like that. This is a draft that has a lot more defense within it now that I'm starting to look at these lottery players that are coming in. But I'm telling you, man, I don't know what Orlando wants to do. They have all the options in the world. And maybe they could pair those two picks together and probably get three. You know, if they want to get funny with it, they can make a huge trade and get all kinds of stuff for those two picks. But if I know of the Orlando Magic and just their history, they really, really value shot blocking, and they have a desire to continue to have length around them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they want a player like Cason Wallace and Jarace Walker anyway. I don't know if I'm actually speaking the gospel in regards to what they would rather do with those picks, because they just tend to love shot blocking and defense. And I don't really know what they need. You know, when you consider they have so much, they can kind of just do whatever they want to do. Maybe they want to bring in Grady Dick, a fantastic three-point shooter. Since, you know, you look back in the past and they've had some success drafting shooters at times, and they can use a shooter right now. They don't really need rim protection and stuff like that, but when you consider what they've been doubling down on, and you consider the size that they already have in place, adding those two pieces would make them a playoff team right away. Right away. I'm telling you, they just have to find a way to get all those people on the floor. But that team would be ridiculous. Whatever it is Orlando decides to do with their two picks, they're in a very, very advantageous position where they're drafting. With some of those kids in that range, they're getting some monsters, man. If they catch the right two, it could change their life forever. So I just wanted to bring that to you guys. You know, I didn't come as prepared as I'd like to, you know, in regards to these prospects. I'm just now getting familiar with them, so I can't really say too much other than to bring their names to you and just say, yo, these dudes are balling, man. A guy like Wallace is so fantastic defensively, sliding from left to right. He reminds me of KCP in a way. Athletic, can shoot the catch and shoot ball very, very well, and then just track you left and right, up and down. Very athletic. And you know, it's just one of those situations where I can just totally see him slipping into their rotation, and kind of playing a role that's probably going to be vacated by what's the gentleman's name that keeps having the knee injuries and stuff like that. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he would probably play that role for their team. So small forward, can track people and just go back and forth and just play defense like crazy. And so that's one thing. And then Jarace Walker, I mean, Jarace Walker is probably the pick that's going to be the 6th pick. He's in that range. This dude is a ferocious shot blocker. I mean, he has chase down block ability to the max, weak side help ability to the max, and then on the offensive end, he's ferocious as well. He can shoot the ball very, very well, catch and shoot. Both of these guys can shoot. So it just becomes a situation where you can just see the 3 and D position as a whole. It's just evolving. It's evolving. These dudes is bigger, faster, stronger. And when you talk about what that young man can do, Jarace Walker, 19 years old, built like a tank, and just flies all over the court defensively, just blocking shots, ferocious. When I say ferocious, chase down blocks, this dude he's gonna really do those a lot. Get out in passing lanes, snatch the ball up, just all kinds of fantastic stuff. So I'm telling you, I've heard people say this is a 3-man draft. That is false. That is so very false when you consider all of the forwards that are coming into this league that can play both sides of the ball. You got winners coming into this league right now. And what I mean by winners is guys who are going to make the difference between you winning and losing. It's a lot of them dudes that are in this draft that I'm starting to develop an understanding about within the top 20. In the top 20, you're going to find a lot of dudes that are going to be key pieces to winning situations. I see that already. Probably more so than some of the other drafts that may have been more talented. These guys are just like glue guys, defensive guys, offensive rebound guys, weak side help guys. You know, I look at Dallas keeping their pick. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see if they do the right thing with the pick, of course. But where they're at 10, they can get somebody that can really, really help them where they're absolutely and utterly deficient. And that is in the inside defensive, you know, a defensive shot blocker, somebody like that, they're going to be able to draft one. So they went from not knowing if they were going to have their pick, you know, because if it would have fell outside of the top 10, it would have went to Chicago. But they got it. They got 10 exactly, and because it's 10, they're gonna have one of those. They're gonna have a chance to get somebody like that themselves. So, I think they should go defense. I think they should go big. Judging by the fact that there are gonna be so many forwards that fit the bill, they should not miss. They should not miss getting a shot blocker or somebody that can help them in the interior. Somebody on the wing that can play some defense, maybe replace the Swiss Army knife that they traded to the Brooklyn Nets. You know, I can't think of the man's name. I can't think of nothing right now, but you guys get what I'm trying to say as we keep going. It's just one of those situations where you got to get that piece if you're Dallas. You must make sure you get that defensive piece, that forward, that 6'8" to 6'10" guy who can either block shots, rebound, shoot the ball as well, just help you on both sides, and ultimately erase things in the inside so that teams can't have just continuous layup lines on y'all. Because that was just, I mean, it kept them from being competitive to the point where they didn't even want to finish their season. Because they knew if they got to the playoffs, they weren't going to do nothing. And so, if ever there was a team who won the draft besides Wembanyama's San Antonio Spurs, in my humble opinion, it probably is the Dallas Mavericks. Just because they need assets, and there was a great chance that they weren't going to get their pick. And you know, so this is the situation where I think they're going to be in. They're going to be over the moon just to be able to draft 10. So that's what I see there. But yeah, I'm just doing homework in general on these guys. I just did homework on a guy by the name of Derek Lively, a shot blocker, who will probably be around in the 20s. He'll definitely be available for my Lakers at 17. There will also be some other prospects that we like around that area in 17 that can block some shots. Bilal Calabi, I believe is his name. He's got like a 7'3" wingspan. So he's also an interesting prospect. But the Lively kid has got a 7'7" wingspan, 7 feet tall, and is a prolific shot blocker. Averaged 4.5 blocks a game last season in college. So he would fit a need for the Lakers. And I don't believe in drafting for need, to be honest with you. But given that we're a championship, caliber team right now, we're definitely a contender. Drafting for need may be the best thing for the organization based on what our needs are. You know what I mean? And then if for some reason we move on from the timeline, we'll still have a fantastic shot blocker. So it might be the way to go. But I also think that you run the risk of maybe reaching for Lively if at 17, especially given the fact that there's so much shakeup in the first round. You expect maybe some guys to fall that shouldn't fall, and you might be able to get somebody at 17 that should probably go at like 11 or 12. And so that's kind of what the Lakers got to look at. But all in all, I don't know that the Lakers won't be extremely excited to pick up whoever they find at 17, because there's a lot of really, really quality dudes in that range. Like, the draft is still good at 17, believe it or not, as far as I can tell. So that's why I'm like, yo, this is a deep draft, you guys. I can't really tell you if it's as talented as last year or the year before. I really haven't assessed that in any way. But what I can tell you is there's a lot of 6'10", 6'8" guys that are coming in to block shots and rebound and be huge and be athletic, muscle-bound dudes that are coming in to just hound you on the defensive end. And it's going to affect the way that they officiate basketball games with this class coming in, because it's going to be hard to continue to play soft or officiate the game in ways that are kind of ticky-tack and touch foul, these type of stuff, with these type of dudes continuing to flood into the league. Like, it's the return to defense. You're going to have to defend to win nowadays. I said this in regards to trying to beat my Lakers, but I'm also going to say this in regards to the 2023 draft class. As I do these homeworks on these dudes, it's so many defensive dudes. Everybody's a defensive dude, basically. Between 4 and 9, you're going to be able to find a defender. 10, you're going to be able to find a game-changing defender for yourself if you want one. And whoever decides not to get a defender will have a chance at a fantastic shooter or a fantastic guard or something, because there's so much talent there, man. You look at the Thompson twins, they both play defense. They both play fantastic on the offensive end as well in their own way. Amen Thompson is a freak athlete, like an absolute freak athlete. The only thing about him is he doesn't really shoot the 3-ball well. But he's a playmaker, a point guard, and has massive size, like 6'8" or 6'9". He can jump out the gym, so he's a mismatch nightmare, and it's probably a lock to go to the Rockets if you ask me. Pretty much a lock. So we've already talked about 2 and 3 in a previous video. Brandon Miller is likely to go to either Portland or Charlotte. I'm really not really sure where either team is leaning, but Portland is rumored to want to trade the pick, and that could throw the whole draft off, depending on what happens there. So yeah, that's something interesting. I understand that Keontae George had a good combine show today. Just kind of saw something on IG, showed that he was really doing fantastic stuff. And what else? This stuff continues to fall into my mindset. There's a guy by the name of Cam Whitmore that I've yet to do homework on, but I've been hearing he's fantastically athletic. So that's the next guy I want to take a look at in the 10 range, 11, 12 range. I think he's in there. Taylor Hendricks is somebody I still want to do more homework on, even though I did see some highlights on him. His range is really interesting because now it's rumored he could go ahead of one of the Thompson twins at 6 with Orlando, or maybe 7. I think at OKC possibly. I don't remember who had 7, but yeah. And that's another thing. OKC can add yet another massive shot blocking defensive player if they choose to. They can go ahead and take, if for some reason Orlando passes on the kid that I was talking about initially, Jarris Walker. OKC adds Jarris Walker to the situation, on top of Lou Dort, on top of Chet Holmgren, and all the other stuff that they got right now. I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to be too long before we see a very good team in Oklahoma City, because of all the picks that they're getting and just how much draft talent that's going to be coming in right now. Will they try to condense some of that and trade a little bit of it? I hear Houston may be looking to trade some things as well, given the fact that they're probably going to be drafting Amen Thompson, a point guard. It's like, okay, what happens with Smith now? You know what I mean? What happens with Green now? So things are going to get interesting in Houston. Obviously, we've heard things about them trying to go after James Harden, which I think could be interesting because he's a legacy guy for them. So it's not like this is some strange reunion. I just don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense to go backwards in terms of timeline if you're the Houston Rockets, when you got so many young guys that all you got to do is just wait on. All you got to do is just keep them together and just don't do nothing. But teams, they want to expedite their process. They believe in themselves building a champion, all kinds of other stuff that ultimately throws away a lot of long-term success. I think the best thing for the Houston Rockets to do is absolutely nothing. I really believe that. And just draft this kid and keep all those kids together and watch them bloom together. Because at the end of the day, it's not something that you have to overthink. You got an overly talented basketball team, and all you need to do is just let them become who they're going to become. So I don't know. Teams overthink it, man. They really overthink it, you guys. But all in all, I think that this draft is going to really, really change some things defensively, and what we think about what it takes to win, what it takes to match up. Small ball is done. I promise you it's done. When you see these kids coming in, Hendricks, Wallace, Whitmore, no. You go small against some of these dudes, you're out. Wembanyama, you go small against some of these teams now, it's over. It's over for small ball. I'm telling y'all right now, this draft is killing that. So, yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Guys like Scoot Henderson are coming into the league. Amen Thompson's coming into the league. We got to understand, these are athletes, man. Whitmore, as I've already said. Wallace, as I've already said. Some ridiculously gifted forwards who are not only gonna play the offensive side of the ball. Absolutely not. So yeah, this league is gonna get significantly more defensive really, really fast, and I'm just trying to prepare everybody for it. You know what I mean? Really. Wembanyama going to the Spurs is a no-brainer. Nobody ever has to question that, as we've said many times. He's a prospect that doesn't get traded. You know, simply put, he's not going to be traded. I expect he will be with San Antonio until he decides he doesn't want to be there no more. It's that kind of thing. Unless something crazy happens with his injuries and all that stuff, which I don't know. He doesn't have any injuries. He's actually holding up very well for those who are worried about his body and all of that. I always tell people, man, these are not their predecessors. It's another generation, which means you're getting some evolution there. They should be more sturdy than the guys that were in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, because this ain't that generation. You know what I mean? So we just got to understand the upgrade that comes naturally as we all just continue to live. And you're going to see more sturdy, tall guys, and even taller guys than that, who will be coming into the league in the future. So we just need to adjust our minds and collect new data and let the evolution tell us what these guys are going to be. Don't assume that because Ralph Sampson back in '83 couldn't hold up with his feet, that this guy is going to be made of the same thing Ralph was. No, this guy's in a different generation from a different world. They have different ways of handling things in terms of conditioning on top of the evolution. So he's going to be whatever he's going to be, but anticipating injury issues when you don't have any evidence of that, I think it's misguided when trying to assess Wembanyama as a prospect. I think it is. It could go wrong. Things can go wrong, but I also think that human evolution needs to be taken into account and given much credence when considering the uniqueness of this prospect and what other prospects will be going forward. So that's what I think in regards to Wembanyama. I don't think that the concerns are baseless. I just think that they're a bit paranoid, if you ask me, in regards to this young fella. So that's really what it is, man. I'm excited about this draft about as much as I've been excited about any draft, not only because of Wembanyama, but because of everybody after him. Like all of them dudes, they look like if they land in the right situations, they could all develop into something very, very useful, if not special. And so I don't see a draft full of empty prospects in this lottery. I do not. Not at all. I think every last one of those lottery picks could potentially turn into pros, real ones. And so I don't know if I want to call this one of the greatest drafts or not. I haven't done that much homework. But just the body types and the strengths and weaknesses of these players as defined in these different mock drafts and stuff that I'm reading is telling you, it's giving you an understanding of what's coming. Forwards, wing guys. So that's really what I got to say, man. Hope everybody's having a fantastic night. That's pretty much the end of this conversation. I'm going to go back and do more homework because I'm definitely enjoying what I'm doing here. And I hope that as I continue to gather data, we lead into this draft, I'll be so very up on just about all of these dudes, so we'll know what's coming into this league fully. So that's pretty much what I got, man. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. Out.